Hello everybody and welcome back to the LJL officially unofficial cast where we cover all things LJL. We've got a hell of a game for game 4 coming up. We've got Burning Core versus DFM, the two undefeated so far for day 1 of the LJL. I am your host, Mars Swan. I am of course joined by my colorcaster and play-by-play caster. I did it right this time. Initialize and Nymera, please, as always, introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hello, I'm Initialize. I'm here, I'm enjoying myself. I'm quite excited for this matchup. We had two very fast games, and then one that kind of fitted the global meta a little bit more normally. I'm wondering whether DFM can pull out what they did in the first game and see whether Burning Core regret their choices in having these guys in their first day.
Well, I don't think there was any choice involved, but Burning Core have a tough matchup in DFM. I think they showed the cleanest game so far today. I think Steel looked wonderful on his Jarvan. I don't think Jarvan is a pick you can let through easily, with so many picks which combo well with it in this current meta. So we'll see how Burning Core decide to draft against this very unique team.
Yeah, I think something to pick up on is in Burning Core and DFM, they both played Aphelios in their matchups, so that's going to be a pickup that obviously we were expecting most teams to be playing Aphelios in some capacity in their teams. But what other champions do we think are going to be contested, banned worthy? Are we going to see the Heimer ban? Like, is Sarah's going to pull the reset?
You have to after that game.
And if Ray Farkey wants to pick up a set again, I don't envy the set that's having to run through the turret field of Heimerdinger. That sounds a bit miserable.
Yeah. But in my opinion, you can give him set because Ebby can play Gnar.
And also he plays GP as well, right? I know that it didn't work out in this last game, but GP is not a bad matchup into set. We did see it work well in game 1, right? Yeah, because Ebby played the GP and beat the set in game 1.
I mean, we've also seen a couple of AD carry responses into set. I think we've seen a Lucian, we've seen a Quim, we've seen a Vayne from QV the other day as well. Like, there are these options, and I trust Ebby to be mechanically strong enough, talented enough, to be able to pick up something into the set that makes it a risky blind pick, at least.
Yeah, I do totally agree with that stance. I'm interested. Where do we see the mid lane matchup really going? We know Saros. We know Saros can play anything. So, what do you do as V3 here? Do you just blind pick and just be like, "We'll let you figure it out"?
Well, maybe you let through power picks such as Syndra and Akali, and you just handshake. Maybe do something like that. But then you do have to risk Saros being a really good mid laner on a priority champion, right? Even if it's not something like his Heimerdinger, he has fantastic champion pool, fantastic way to play each of those champions.
Absolutely. And then obviously, last but not least, I do want to cover Proud versus Gang. That support matchup. Both of them have played amazing games on Thresh. We know, obviously, Gang as a Thresh god, as we saw in the finals of DFM versus V3. It will be on our YouTube channel over the next 24 hours, we promise. We'll be there, so go watch it.
At some point. We'll announce it. I can nearly guarantee it. I will guarantee it, because I'll announce it for us.
I have to edit the videos and stuff. It's all production.
Cut out all those ugly shots of us.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah. I can't be on the camera. It's going to be awful.
But yeah, so we have got definitely a hell of a matchup coming in. I do believe we will be about to count down in a few seconds if you're both ready. Is there any last points either of you want to make?
I think that this game could be pretty fun and pretty quick.
Well, let's see how this goes. I give it to DFM. They're definitely my vote for this, but they're my vote for everything at this point. And Burning Core went into an Axis where they struggled a bit early on in the lane, but Axis struggled in the mid game. DFM won't have that problem. And I wonder whether that will be a little bit trickier for Burning Core to work around.
I would agree with you on that stance. It's definitely going to be a hell of a game, and I'm going to count us in with 3, 2, 1. And we're in. We will soon be in Champ Select. With that in mind, I will now hand it over to both of you. Good luck, and good luck to the teams.
Yeah, so we're both into we're into Champion Select now, seeing what the first bans are going to be. Like we said, we know we'd wonder maybe that against Syros you try and leave some of these priority mid laners open just so that he doesn't have the chance to default back to these more off-meta picks and stuff like the Heimerdinger. Haven't seen his Karma yet. That's another one of his famous picks as well in the mid lane. So the first ban we see coming through is the Rumble. This is the third time we've seen it banned today. It's been played over in the LCK, as we said, as a support, but
It was a good support too.
It's a very good support. We've also seen it in top lane and mid lane running the Predator rune as well.
Curious, a Darius ban. We saw Ray Farkey pick up the set. I don't know why. I'm assuming that's got to be a very specific ban against Ray Farkey, or Ebby's got something in mind. Darius was not where I was expecting that.
Oh, he's not going to play Soraka top, is he? Oh,
Well, as I
don't do
said,
that.
he's going to. They're going to have to ban it away. Ornn's gone as well. That's 4 potential top laners there. I mean, grant you there's some flexes in there, but those
Yeah.
are all top lane champion pool bans.
Takeaways, yeah.
Mordecai's real. That's 5.
Yeah, this is a massive amount of bans towards the top lane. Of course, a couple of these are flex picks. The Rumble, the Mordekaiser, the Akali, and the Set are all flex picks. We've talked enough about Akali in terms of why she's so good in draft, just being able to play that chess maneuver of the mind game, whether it's going to go mid lane or top lane. Very good in both things as well. So now we get through to the first pick for Burning Core. There's a lot of stuff available. We see the Syndra available too. We'll see if that's picked up.
Indeed, but looking at a first pick, well, currently the Azrael hover, but of course, instead, the Elise, because that's always a great power jungler who gets those top lanes rolling very quickly. Lots of early pressure with the Cocoon, and has been banned pretty much all day today.
Yeah, and on the other side, we see the one which hasn't been banned, but has been picked so much. It's the Aphelios, been shown in every game so far today, and we might see Steel's Jarvan again. I said this in the pre-game. Steel had a really good game on Steel. Jarvan.
Well, like, Steel had a great game as himself. That's fine. I can agree with
sure.
that. And Misfortune in response, another one of those power pick AD carries. But of course, Aphelios and Cataclysm is a great combination. Level them, keep them all clumped together for big Moonlight visuals. And we'll see what this last pick of round 1 will be for Burning Core. Still deliberating here. Syndra was left open and taken quite quickly.
Yeah, I think that's good. But then you're running the problem of you have to play again 2 no escape AD carries into Jarvan. And okay, so this is where we are wondering about what Syros is picking up. He's hovering that Karma, which he has been so good at last season. So yeah, and it is locked in. So it's not the Heimerdinger this time, but it is the other pocket pick that Syros has in his wheelhouse.
And if you're going to enable somebody, I don't think it's a bad person to be enabling in Utapon, who's on an Aphelios, which he went absolutely mental on in the last time he played it. So that's good stuff. Offers some more team fight and a little bit more safety. It's not the Soraka, but there is some healing that can be provided. There's a lot of team shielding. Pantheon banned away, still very strong.
I mean, there is always the chance this Karma actually goes top as well.
Of course.
There's always chance. I mean, Syros is the guy that we always pin it on, but you know that we have some people who play Karma across the world. Soaz had a pretty bad game on it in NA, but it was picked there. Shows that there are some top laners going towards that train of thought.
I mean, there's an old school, but Karma support is a thing. I wouldn't be averse to Karma Aphelios as a lot of poke out on that lane.
Yeah,
a lot of damage.
I don't think Karma's numbers are good enough really to
run that way.
To be a support right now. It gets all in by a lot of like stuff like Nautilus and Leona pretty well. Even though we do, if you pick something which is less aggressive, something like a Tahm Kench or a Braum, I think Karma can shine. But not really into the top tier of melee supports.
Thresh banned away by DFM. Unusual, unexpected because Gang is there, but it suggests they don't want to first pick that support.
Yeah, it means that they're probably looking for. Yeah, it probably looks like they're not looking for the first pick support in this last round of picks. So it might be a last pick support.
They might go first pick Tahm Kench. Because Thresh is quite good into that. Galio banned away.
Yeah.
Gang did had a very good game on that in the first game of the day.
Maybe because the Thresh is banned, maybe this Karma will be put towards support then. Although the Nautilus is still available, which is one of these really high tier engage melee, somewhat damagey supports as well.
See where this goes. It does leave Blitzcrank, I suppose, available for Brad if he wants to go that aggressive. Aatrox being hovered, but we'll see whether that's actually locked in.
It has. Cool. I guess you can't really pick Soraka into Elise. I think Elise probably ganks Soraka really well. Very dangerous thing to have on the top side, even though, yeah, we saw Soraka banned in the first game of the day.
We
We
did.
haven't seen any. It hasn't seen it picked yet though.
Yes, and that's making it more and more likely that this Darius was a specific ban versus Ray Farki. The set game he had last time out was pretty disgusting,
Yeah.
but he's gone towards a GP this time, and Yumi being hovered.
Oh, don't do it. Oh, spare me from the cat. The book cat, don't do it. It's being hovered. But anyway, so
Fishy goes proud, thinking very hard about this one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think who it would work with in terms of the zoomies.
it's not the best pick in terms of buffing up your carries, but it's really it's good for giving MF the movement speed. But we'll see if it's locked in first. It's actually
the
Bard
Bard.
that locked in. Okay.
The no bar zone has been
Oh no! This is how the
violated.
There's the monkey paw wish, and I just wish that there would be no Yumi. I said it in my heart of hearts, but then the monkey paw says, okay, no Yumi, but you will have to see Bard. It's the one champion I don't own. I'm sorry, Bard players out there. It's just it.
Yes, go on, gang. You might have a Bard, but you might get a Blitzcrank in response. Do it for me, gang.
It's locked in. Yes. Okay. Right. So this Blitzcrank has typically been a counter to Enchanter mage support. Bard somewhat fits into that category. Not the tankiest of champions, and can die if a hook lands on them very quickly.
Look, before we get into talking about nitty gritty about team comps, I need to know why do you hate Bard?
PTSD from season 5. I think that's probably a good reason.
5 years ago, this man is still haunted.
Yeah. And also it's just I mean, maybe it's just one of those things where like you're just born with this innate hatred of something. Like I mean, some people just really don't like clowns.
Yeah, you just have a fear of Bards or a hatred?
This is definitely a hatred, not a fear.
Yeah.
I've overcome my fear over many years.
This poor wandering chime creature is
You're basically Studio Ghibli insert into League of Legends, yeah.
Yeah, like what's your problem, man?
Too many meeps. Too many meep deaths.
That's it. The meep death by meep. He's the haunted color caster here. With a virulent hatred of Bard, but never mind that. Let's have a look at some of these team comps. It's a Gangplank, Elise, Syndra, Misfortune Bard over for Burning Core, but Aatrox, Jarvan, Karma mid lane, and then Aphelios Blitzcrank over for DFM.
Okay. So what I'm seeing here is that we're going to see some massive amounts of move speed come down onto Jarvan and Aatrox. They want to dive forward onto the team of Burning Core. That's really what DFM's game plan is. They have a lot of long range capability between the Karma Mantra Q and also the Aphelios ult, along with the Blitzcrank. If we see a root come in from the Aphelios ult, Blitzcrank's probably going to hook them into death. So yeah, that's the game plan from DFM. On the other side, again, we have the Gangplank. We said before, Gangplank, if he's left unmolested in the side lane, can get himself up to 2-3 items and really start wrecking the backline with his ultimate and barrels.
Indeed, and here we go. The logos are up. We're about to go into game, and this is going to be another one of those big clashes. Burning Core mid-table last year, DFM top of the tables. Our two 1-0 teams. One of these guys will be taking a loss here.
Yeah, it's the level 1 from the Blitzcrank. Always have to be a little bit aware of that. Going in for... Looks like it's just an early ward onto the first buff, seeing if they can just scout out the early game jungle path of the Elise. It is very important against these early level gankers, such as your Elise, your Rek'Sai, your Lisa, and all this other stuff, really. So it's good that they've managed to get that ward down early.
Yes, it is, and they back away, though Blitzcrank is still hanging in that river. Aatrox is just keeping an eye on his red buff in case Elise decides to go in that way and go for the split jungle, but she's starting potentially over on this blue side.
So memes aside, actually Bard pretty good at level 1, able to proc that electrocute very quickly with an auto with the meep and the Q as well. Does count as 3 instances of damage, so it does proc the electrocute. So, a lot of damage coming in there. So if the hook does not land from Blitzcrank, you've got to imagine that the level 1 of Misfortune Bard will just outtrade the DFM bot lane.
Yes, you got to assume that. But on the other hand, there is always that wombo, one-shot rocket grab, detonate available. And that fits with the theme of their name, at least. Detonation, focus me. Sounds about right when the Blitzcrank is going to grab you. Focus that one person and detonate
we really
them.
should have never questioned why Syros played Ziggs with a name like Detonation Focus Me, the team which he's been on for so long.
It is very true. Actually, I'm kind of agree with
Still
you.
managing to pick up this ward, and looks like they've actually managed to do this vertical jungling. I'm not sure if this favors DFM in all the ways that we'd like to see it. I know that the Blitzcrank likes to have some pressure around lane to be able to walk up and threaten the hook as opposed to actually casting it. As we can see here, actually, Yuhi and Proud being forced off the very first wave.
And that's a lot of damage in from Evie instead. And Aatrox is relatively hard to gank when your only other damage is a Gangplank, doesn't bring any CC. Of course, it isn't Elise, so she can kind of do it by herself to an extent.
Yeah.
But he is much safer being left alone on that side. And actually, Jarvan gets a 3 buff.
It does get a 3 buff, yes.
But it means that at least it has passed down to this bot side and might look to try and pressure the aggressive posturing of DFM's bot lane.
Okay, so once again we see an electrocute out of the Syndra instead of the phase rush. That'll be something we need to keep an eye on, see if the Syndra can keep herself safe without having that extra move speed that Rune gives you. On the other side, we see the electrocute out of Bard, as you said, pretty common. Although we have seen a bit of Omni Stone propping up in solo queue about Bard as well. Bit weird there though, that Rune.
So, Omni Stone, I'm kind of a little bit... I'm almost there with it. I think it's really close to being good, but it's just a little bit too awkward at the minute.
I mean, I think if you give someone the choice of runes, even if it's not random, then it's broken as hell. But you can't do that. So we see actually Steel looking towards the top lane. The second key misses from the Aatrox.
So we've got junglers on opposite sides and opposite lanes. The moment Steel reveals himself, I expect Elise to go too. He's gone forward. He's got the knock-up. Just. Rayfaki now in trouble. Has flashed, and he dodges the Umbral chains, and he's going to be surviving.
Oh, and now this is horrible. This wave is going to freeze for Ebby, and there's no flash from Rayfaki. If Jarvan stays on this top side, this Gangplank is going to get zoned out of like a good 10-20 CS. This is awful for Gangplank.
Yes, it is. And once doesn't even go for the dive in the bot lane. That's trouble.
Yeah, wasn't in position for that, although we might see a fight over the scuttle.
Gets the cover, doesn't get it.
Doesn't get it. Cocoon lands onto it, but no smite on there as well. No smite available even. So Steel in a bit of a pickle now as there are 3 people collapsing onto him.
But no one gets there quick enough. Once it's here around the Raptors, they're going to walk into each other again. He's going to get the knock-up there, but it's a Cocoon for a knock-up, and that's going to be about it. Repel up, but can't repel to anything, so he's going to come straight back down. Seros is here, but it will be a 3v1. No, Evie's coming forward as well. Once is in trouble, has Flash, may well have to use it. Doesn't have the repel, so it's a long cooldown. Flash is over the wall into the red buff, but now there is an Inspire coming out of the Karma to keep people alive, and it's all good.
Oh, and how the heck does that work out? Once looks like he's probably going to try. Is he going to
execute? No,
he
just gets through with the
out.
pot. And no one's here to contest. He's going to blast plan out. Somehow, some way, that Elise survives. And no first blood goes down.
And actually, hero play from Rocky, managing to get the double scatter of the week and a whole load of damage onto both Seros and Ebby to stop them following forward onto ones for a kill like that. Steel with a pretty good flash knock up there onto the Elise. I thought that was going to be a pretty great trade, but ends up no kills to either side.
Yeah, it is. Proud starting the roam for the meeps. Those hated meeps. We've got to be the only stream in League of Legends that has a problem with Bard, or at least significant issues.
Let's be honest, it is just me. You don't have to group yourself in with
No, I'm very much done. I'm fine with Bard. I have no problems.
Yeah, I'll bear this burden alone, the anti-Bard crew.
Yeah.
But okay, so as a result of this, going away from our less relevant broadcast topics, this could get us so hated for so many reasons. Bard mains are a force to be reckoned with. But what happened here is that
excommunicated from Bard one tricks.
So what we saw is that actually, because of this fight, GP managed to push in the wave. It didn't get frozen, although there was a bit of CS loss to turret as it pushed back out. Zebby managed to recover the wave afterwards. It's no longer the awful state which Rayfaki was left in after that flash was blown earlier.
Syndra has hit 6, so that needs to be kept an eye on. That is a very powerful ultimate. And if Rocky can continue to land some of those impressive scatter of the weeks, then that will become more and more important. Gang just going on a bit of a vision mission here.
Yeah, clearing out the pink ward they left on the dragon just means that if they do turn around and want to go for an early dragon at some point, they won't have any vision on them. Yuhi managing to freeze this wave outside his turret as well. There's a lot of minions built up there, so he's going to give himself actually a decent CS lead at the end of this when he collects all this farm.
He does. Steel has managed to find his way into this bush. Gangs here has the rocket grab. The root's down, and that's a little bit of a freeze in the stream, but that's fine because I feel this Misfortune is in so much trouble. Has burnt heal and flash and survives, but that is trouble.
Sometimes a play or a hook is just so good that there's a glitch in the matrix.
That's exactly it. It can't have happened. It's too unreal.
It kind of of happen. We see the same play twice. The screen freezes, and yeah, it looks like Yuhi does manage to get out of that, and that's really unfortunate because that wave was actually in a pretty good position.
Fairly certain I just saw Keanu Reeves just wander across the screen somewhere.
You're breathtaking, says Guyang to Yuhi and says, get over here. And actually, the knockup misses from Steel.
Had no flash, so couldn't extend it. Was in the bush, just a little bit far out. It's still no summoner's burn. It is, well, there's an ignite burn, but that's all. And Misfortune is now in a very precarious position with her lack of mobility.
I have to say that, so there are flashes blown on both sides of the map now by Steel and his impact on the game. And I have to say that even though Steel has not managed to pick up any kills, his impact has been pretty high on this game so far, especially from what you consider normal from a lot of junglers.
Yep, Want is, however, here in this bush, probably waiting for Steel to come round in this river. But Steel has the level up as Want is going for a Gromp Steel, but Steel's in the river. This is going to be an interesting position. He's here, Proud's here. He's got this, they've gone for a knock-up. I think, yeah, that's just a knock-up on Yuhi into the rocket grab. The root's there too. Clean from DFM.
Horrible,
Nothing else to see. Didn't even bother rocket grabbing first. It's like, I'm going to punch you up.
No, legitimately, what is the counterplay to that? Flash knockup, take a step backwards, hooked backwards, into Gravitum root, into Jarvan knockup. There is so much dedicated CC.
But once they're going to go Cocoon, so Roki's got the scout of the week, and that's just going to be easy stuff for Seros. I say that, but I missed it. Rocky didn't use his ultimate. What was going on? He had no mana.
Oh, he had no mana. And also, looks like we might see a bit of a re-engage coming.
Oh, they're going to be punished for that slight miscalculation.
Oh, that is just crazy. So what happened there is that when Karma casts a little tether, with the ult, the mantra, it means that you heal actually quite a lot of damage right onto yourself right there. So because they couldn't burst out the Karma before the ult came down from the Syndra, no mana available for that, managed to heal up enough to walk out scot-free, not even burning the flash.
Yeah, it is that mantra W. I think it's Mantra W. It is Mantra W, which will be which is of course the renewal. Because you got to remember that Karma's mantra abilities actually all have different names.
Oh no, I can't. Yeah.
So it's like Inner Flame, and then it's Soul Flare for the Q, for example.
I'm not about that life. I know it as Q, Alt Q, W Alt. I keep things simple. You know, I'm a cold analytical person. Don't need any of these names. Good trade by everyone's Ray Farker. It
is. Finds its way out of the bush and causes a lot of damage with those Darkin Blade stacks.
Yeah.
CS is pretty even up here at the minute, though. There's a cannon and stuff for Evie to pick up. Probably ends up about even, but once roaming up, gonna see if he can get something done. As we said, probably wants to be getting more of an impact done. Jarvan's ultimate so much better in these mid-game team fights compared to an Elise who really wants to get things going earlier on. We'll see how this goes. Is here, looking potentially for a dive. Has got flash, has got cocoon. We'll see where this goes. Evie's gone in. He's put the elbow down. He's going to see how this goes. There comes the gangplank, cannon barrage. Cocoon not used yet, trying to force the flash. And the cocoon was trying to predict and wasn't quite enough. And Evie somehow, some ways, outplays it. Once you could have just held on. You could have just waited for the flash.
Oh no, that was actually pretty next level by once there. You saw the amount of HP that Ebby got out on there. If he didn't do that at the exact timing he did, he would have been dead to rights. Really close mind game, but Ebby comes out on top, gets out the GP ult, which is really important because this dragon is up. We might see DFM go for that play around that now. Because
still no flash on Misfortune. Steel going forwards. End of that play, but it does mean tower pressure.
You know what's actually going to be an interaction we need to keep track of in here? You can Bard tunnel out of Jarvan ult.
Oh, of course you can. That's probably not a bad thought, actually.
But as we say that, a couple of plates going down in bot lane.
And of course, Crescendum is great for taking tower plates if you can get close enough to use it. But fortunately, there's Calibrum there as well for that additional poke. But Steel has found his way into the Raptor pit. Just going to take the Raptors, but it does mean that Seros is going to push up and try and get a little bit more CS.
Okay, so I guess we're going to see a replay of this top lane play here. So, Ray Farky misses the first barrel, just uses the Q, leads out with the ult, gets a lot of damage from that, and basically Ebby is holding, judges where the Cocoon's going to go and flash away immediately. Not enough damage from the Grasp Q to finish off the Aatrox there. Fantastically well played by Ebby.
Yeah. It was perhaps a mistake to go forwards. Has burned his flash, but does get out without dying. So exceptionally well played. This guy knows. I'm not sure what he said with knows his limit. I'm going to pretend he did. He knew what he was doing. Totally calculated.
I think that one was a limit test thing there. We saw a little bit of that with Boogie on Echo in his second game of the day as well. I think this, today might be the day of a limit test. First day back after the break. Fantastic play so far from a lot of different teams.
It has been a bit of a slower game so far from DFM, who got off to a really fast early lead last time, but we're looking at a slight CS lead for
this could be
Roki, but that's a
dangerous.
lot of damage from the Umbral Twins, but the last Q3 does miss, so Rayfarki's going to get out. Still has the Corrupting Bot, still has his oranges, will probably be just fine.
So normally when you see a knock-up land onto someone who's hit by the Infernal Chains, it does signal that they're going to get pulled back in, but it was the Rayfarki managed to walk out of the thinner side of that chain there, so no kill put down by Ebby yet.
But still looking to put as much poke down. And that is the joy of an Aatrox, right? That while he's not a race champion, that consistent queue up with no mana cost means he can at least poke out these guys like Gangplank and at least contest, right?
Yeah, but while Gangplank has mana, he can always use his Corrupting Part. Well, I mean, that's not a mana thing. He can use his Corrupting Part and also his oranges as well. Cleanse that scurvy off of him and get some HP back.
It's very important, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you have your 5 a day. Follow in the lines of Gangplank. Eat your oranges.
Only oranges.
Only oranges.
Nothing,
No, that's the only thing you need. Vitamin C and orange.
Yep, just oranges. Yeah. Nothing else.
That's okay.
But yeah, no. So we
Orange with chips. Orange. Oranges and Weetabix.
That sounds
just awful.
Genuinely awful.
This is the life that Gangplank leads.
But wow, I mean, maybe he is. Oh wow, we see the ult committed by Ebby here in top lane.
He's gone in. The World Ender is challenged. There's a flash from Rayfarki. That's gonna sting. But once it's coming up, maybe to see if Ebby sticks around too long. But no, he burned it as he was thinking of backing. Waves pushed out. That's probably gonna be it. I don't know whether Release is gonna try and there's no Ebby sticking around, buddy. Oh, he knows. He's seen it. What's he gonna do? He's gone forward. There's a cannon barrage down. It's now under the tower.
Oh, he sidesteps!
And it's gonna be a repel out. It's nearly an outplay by Ebby, but it's not enough. And well played by Burning Core there to get out of that one. But it means at least it's top side, so it'll be a DFM Dragon take on the bot side.
That was legitimately so close to a turnaround 1-4 by Ebby. Once again, managing to avoid the cocoon, backsteps that time, and basically the only reason Once gets out is because Rayfarki has just enough HP to tank 2 tower shots for Once while he's in the air.
Yeah. DFM pinging out the Onces on the Rift Herald, and we're seeing Seros move over, but it looks like first turret's going to go down here to Utapon, who's right up there on that turret, now with a big CS lead with Misfortune forced away. Once has to back away from the Rift Herald with DFM turning up in numbers.
And actually, so what we see now is that Gangplank has really been propped up against this Aatrox, has a level lead on the way towards that Triforce, has the Sheen and the Phage available to him now as well. Yeah. And this Aatrox will probably just be playing towards team fights. It has been trading pretty well into the Gangplank so far, but it probably, once the Triforce is completed, won't be able to get so many of those crazy trades again.
I agree. I think it's also probably not bad placement from Once. Like, while he hasn't necessarily got as much done as he would have liked to have done, at the very least he's kept Ebby accountable. And I think they'll be feeling a little hard done by they didn't get more done in those ganks, actually, sometimes.
Yeah, you could have. That first one was just so close to the edge. And even then, that second one, that was very close to him getting out. I mean, we've seen Ebby play close to the edge for a very long time. It's one of his hallmarks. In fact, if you go back and watch those summer finals that we cast, in Game 2, we saw Ebby have some very close outplays.
All right, we're seeing another Rift Herald contest. Once is here. Roki's just picked up the blue buff. Still going on. Steel's getting a little bit low doing this, though, but it looks like Burning Core aren't going to be here quickly enough in time. Are going to leave it alone, and that means a Rift Herald secured by DFM. Looking like they might want to drop it topside. The gang's here too. No, just backing away. Going to use that empowered recall is Steel.
I think it's better if you can crack open the mid-tier one here if you can possibly do that. I think that's the real gold standard for this Herald. And as we see that this is basically just a wave clear matchup in the mid lane now. Because there's so much MR picked up by the Karma, as you can see, just ult queuing the back line, the soul flare, see, I'm being educated. Karma has enough wave clear to clear the back minions, clear a lot of the other minions too, and then also have Merc Treads and Athene's Unholy Grail for all that magic resist, which means that really there's very little chance of 100-0 from Syndrome.
Yes, I agree, and that is kind of the joys of building Athenes. The magic resist is good. It's also great healing for the team, and when your Aphelios has an Essence Reaver, has got a lot of turret plates, CS lead all over the Misfortune, that could be slightly dangerous. Buffing up someone like that is always a good option. We've seen it for years from RNG. Well. We're seeing another fight here. Once and Steel both here. It's going to be a 2v2, but you're right, it is a good trade, but here comes Steel looking for the ultimate here. There's not a lot, but here comes the Cannon Barrage. Once it's here too, but that's Ebby has got a lot of healing on this, but he's just not quite on damage.
Oh,
so gets it. He's going to still, no! Can't get it till 2 for 1. 2 for none, even. Oh, Rayfarki, what an outplay.
And at the same time, I think we actually see a cancel on Siros's teleport to try and clean up those kills as well. I think Rocky or no, it must have been Bard or the Syndra canceling Siros's teleport to maybe turn around that play. Some very, very close limits being played this game on both sides for the first time.
But all the while, Utapon is shoving up here with Gang, and while the top side has gone a little bit wrong for DFM, we are seeing a lot of pressure put down by their bot lane.
Yeah, definitely. So what we do see here now is that Gangplank manages to clean up the bottom turret, gets the local gold for that, and this Gangplank is now going to be a real factor in this game. So what we see here is that basically DFM do not have complete information. They commit to this not knowing once is there, and then Rayfarky just manages to cleanse a lot of, heal back a lot with the oranges, and even with double flashes committed, they don't manage to overkill the Rayfarky while he's got that potion cup ticking as well. Sorry, my words just got completely stuck.
That's fine. The flag at the end must have left him on like single-digit HP. That was so close. But this GP is now 2-0-1. That was a good counter gang by the Elise, but this Gangplank is going to be scary. And somehow, someway, this Syndra has also picked up a bounty of 200.
That'll be a fun bounty. As we can see, that Siros has also picked up a similar bounty as well. Herald drops in the mid lane. As we were saying, it would be definitely very good if they can try and cut down this outer turret. Plating's definitely gone now. It's after 14 minutes, so it's easier to kill these turrets.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes, but everybody's gathering, and that's a great battle. And we have seen that used to counter the the fact there are two heralds now. Bard has grown in popularity kind of in response to that ability to freeze those turrets is very powerful.
Because we've been talking a little bit in and around the stream, the podcast, about how games on this patch tend to go longer. It's harder to snowball. Jungle camps are worth left. So when you're trying to run through the enemy jungle after taking a turret or a big objective, you just get less gold than you used to. And one of the things which alleviates that somewhat is the fact that there are two heralds instead of one now, which means that you can change the game state, knock down an outer turret, which you wouldn't have had access to before. And having something like Bard to stop that with his ultimate, just protect the turret as the herald charges in, is such a big game changer.
And speaking of jungle experience, Steel stuck at level 8, which is not huge compared to Elise, who's managed to pick her way up to level 10. But that means that Steel is 4 levels down on this Syndra. He has to be so careful about what engages he takes, because yes, he's got a stopwatch, but if he gets CC for too long, he will just get blown up.
I think he's a Cataclysm bot now, if I'm honest. He's there to put up the walls, which will promptly be tunneled out of, probably. You know how it is.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah, so we're seeing a bit of a setup for this Cloud Drake now. It's the first dragon of the game for Burning Core, although I don't know if DFM are going to commit to this.
I think they're probably not. And you're watching Ebby without teleport, shove on this top side, look to get this tower, get some more gold on the side for DFM.
We're going to see which rift it is. It's an Infernal Rift. Oh, nice.
And that means we're going to see a little bit more fighting, I suspect, once that comes round. Aphelios does clean up the wave in the mid side, and looking at Burning Core getting in and stealing away this blue buff.
Yeah, so this will be the second Infernal Rift we've seen today. We didn't see the Infernal Soul last game, even though the game went pretty long, because there were a lot of traded drakes between the two teams. And actually, we're in a pretty even game state. Burning Core with a 1k gold lead over DFM. We saw last game that Burning Core actually had a pretty weak early game versus Axis, but then managed to turn it around into from a series of good mid-game and late-game plays. Well, I mean, as late as the game got. But getting a gold lead against DFM is actually something of note. You know, this team had such a good early game in their first game today.
Yes, they did. And we're going to hit a little bit of a lull in the game. We've got to find our own word for that. We can't just steal LCK terms. I think that's unfair.
Sure.
Well, maybe we will anyway.
Oh,
but that's a GLP down. That's a stun down onto Utapon, who has to flash away. Ouch.
That one hurts. That one definitely hurts. That's a lot of damage down there. Although I think they do manage to defend this turret just about.
Yes, they do.
It looks like. Wow. So yeah, we're definitely seeing that. This is why Syndra is so nice to have in this mid lane. You can just kind of set up the shooting gallery, have everyone stood in front of you, and then you just aim for a pick. The stun is on a pretty low cooldown. Oh, Bardock committed, but missed.
Yeah, and actually going on this Blitzcrank hasn't landed all that many important hooks so far.
Well, there also just haven't been that many places where they can fight. Normally they're pushing an uncontested lane, or they're against the the duo lane as well, and trying to fight 2v2 isn't always as simple as landing a hook.
Absolutely, but it does mean that heading into this mid game, we need to see a little bit more out of Gang, who we want to return to that. Actually, that first blood kill that they did get was a great one.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And we've seen there is definitely a good knowledge of this champion and how to play it. And that probably needs to come out a little bit more in this mid game too. As Burning Core currently have something of an advantage here.
Something of an advantage, but then if we look down the roster of players, we do see that at least Ebby is managing to keep up in levels now, even though he's 0-2, has a 10 CS lead, which at this point in the game doesn't mean that much, particularly when Gangplank passive has ticked over a little bit of extra gold. We see that actually the big thing is that there's a big difference in the jungle CS. There's a 1-0-2 Elise with a 2-level lead over this Jarvan. Jarvan, like we were saying, probably going to be an ult bot at this point of the game. Doesn't do all that much damage with the Cinder Hulk build, even with the Conqueror rune.
Yep, and we've seen the Negatron cloak picked up as well, probably to stop himself being detonated by the Syndra Bard Elise AP damage. I'm assuming Bard's AP, actually. I'm not quite sure who he is.
Yeah,
I thought he was. It's been a little while since I've thought about that champion on a consistent basis.
I have seen him built with a rapid fire cannon. Doesn't actually add any AD, but
it's a nice extreme. Well, it's the way the TF used to, AP
Yeah,
TF
it is,
likes to build a rapid fire cannon.
It's the meep slap.
Yeah,
You know how it is.
It's what Bard is known for. Gang hanging off around this side, going to see if someone steps out of line, but unlikely to. On the other hand, Evie might have to run a little bit faster than he is at the minute, but he has a dash, so he's fine.
Is that the Umbral dash?
I believe it is.
Umbral dash?
Yes. Umbral dash, Infernal Chains, Dark Blade, World Ender.
We've had a lot of Umbral today. We've had Nocturne earlier in the day, and obviously we've had 1 or 2 Aatroxes pulled out, this being one of them.
Yep. Xeros Solar Flares the wave, and that's probably going to be the end of that push. Let's have a look through on some of those items. Luden's picked up.
Solar Flare's the wave. We have a Leona now.
Oh. Soul Flare. Got to be careful. There's no AR in that.
This game. Bard ult misses again.
Well dodged. Some nice fancy feet there from Evie, and that's gonna be the end of that.
Yeah.
We're kind of just seeing a bit of a back and forth. These outer towers are down. Pressure is all about whether people can get through this mid one turret right now, and it's turning into a little bit of a JRAM. But there is Utapon, who's got the Hurricane at this point built, does mean that it's relatively easy pickings, even if this turret is a little low at this point.
Yeah, and we see that Seros has managed to find his way up to the top lane, clear out a wave there, just make sure that some of the lanes are pushing their advantage. Means that if Burning Core do commit to the aforementioned JRAM, they are losing something in the terms of Seos on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I'm assuming Misfortune backing now to pick up a fairly significant item. No, just the pickaxe. I mean, it's nearly Infinity Edge, but on the other side, Utapon's much more ready to fight with his Essence Reaver, Hurricane, and a Hex Drinker.
Yep.
There is going to be a fight around this Infernal Drake in 6 seconds, and Utapon's in a really strong point. On the other hand, I'm looking at a Joram's Fist and a Trinity Force available for this Gangplank, and a GLP and a Spellbinder again for this Syndra. Seems to be a pretty common build at the minute.
Yeah, but this Dragon's come at a really bad point for Burning Core. They haven't
They've run engage onto once, who's gone to repel out, but there's Steel there who's managed to Cataclysm, forces once to ult. But Steel cocoons, but it's a nicely buffered flag and drag to get Steel out. Flash burn for once, but it is an ultimate down for Steel.
Yep,
they're going to move on to this Infernal Drake because once is a little bit low, has no flash. It's going to be a little bit risky for him to get in there. And Gang's hanging around with the hook available. Infernal Drake secured by DFM. That was pretty clean.
Yeah, I think that DFM really wants to look for a fight now. A lot of these big items, like we were saying, not quite completed. The Starrick's not completed for GP yet. The IE not completed for the Misfortune yet. They do manage to disengage the fight though, Burning Core. They're just looking for a hook. Nothing hit from DFM though.
Yeah, and of course, with the Defiance available from Karma to speed everybody up, specifically that Blitzcrank when he's popping his own speed up, that Blitz can get into position real fast and threaten a lot of these kind of immobile carries.
He also has the Righteous Glory as well. So with all the move speed things available, yeah, a lot of move speed coming out of the Boom Boom Blitzcrank.
Yeah, he's a drag racing Blitzcrank is what I kind of like to think that one is.
No, that's Hot Rod.
Hot Rod, yeah.
Man, I only play Blitzcrank on ARAM, so I'm not the most knowledgeable about Blitzcrank schemes.
On the other hand, you do play a fair amount of ARAM.
I do, yeah, it's true.
So maybe then again, you have mentioned how you have pretty much all the champions.
Don't out me as an ARAM player.
Yeah, remind me what your Summoner's Rift rank is again.
It's okay. It's decent. We're okay. I'm hanging around Diamond right now.
That's good man.
Yeah. But what we're seeing now really is that Burning Core are really just trying to hook almost in range there, but the good disengage from the cocoon there.
Yeah.
So what we're really seeing is Burning Core and DFM just pinging waves between the mid towers. This we see it a lot in North America. Obviously, we do meme about it a lot. But both of these teams really want to get that priority over mid lane, and it's really hard to get if you have a mid lane tower up.
Indeed, and actually, it's a Morella Nomicon finished for the Elise, which is actually very sensible versus an Athenes, an Aatrox, and Severum for Aphelios, of course. So actually, kind of okay with that, as much as it is becoming more of a meme in the analyst community around whether you should be building a Morello on.
It depends on your role as a champion, right? So Elise can apply the Grievous Wounds pretty easily with the likes of
Volatile Spiderling.
Yes, particularly the W Volatile Spiderling. You know, it's really hard to run away from that because, you know, so you kind of have to tank it, just accept the Grievous Wounds. And that means that often Elise is the champ. Oh, see a bit of a fight in the bottom.
Yeah, Gangplank just comes out of the bush, but that's about it. We've launched the Spirit Visage build, not Spirit Visage.
It's a lot of damage onto Rocky.
Indeed. Actually, never mind that because it's a flash from Gang that is flashed in return by Rocky, and that's the end of that. Good return there from Blitzcrank, forcing out a pretty key summoner.
Yeah, so what that means now is that this Syndra has a massive target on her back for the next Jarvan ultimate. It's now ticked over. Jarvan's ticked over to level 11. It's the second tier of his ultimate as well. So that means that this Syndra will have to stay incredibly safe in these team fights.
Looking like a lot of magic resist being built by the Aatrox, what I was trying to get into before we saw a little bit of a fight, which is not so great versus the GP, but because he's looking more towards the team fights anyway, when you are dealing with this Syndra who is capable of popping a lot of people, I can see that being a useful pickup. Can't remember, does that actually build into a Spirit Visage from that?
Which thing?
The blue cloak that's name is, I've now forgot.
Spectre's Cowl.
Spectre's Cowl, thank you. I was going Spirit Visage, like, it begins with Spur.
Yeah. You know, we're an educational cast here.
Yeah, it's true. I was like,
some of us can't remember ability names. Some of us can't remember item
names. Yeah, but between the two of us, we are all knowing about League of Legends.
One thing I find quite interesting here is that Youthpon went for the Hex Drink earlier. Has actually opted to complete the more Malmortius alongside the Merc Treads as well, with, you know, Athene's heals and shields. This Aphelios might actually be very hard for this Syndra to shut down.
And we're seeing a surprisingly good amount of vision control from Burning Core, who've managed to pick up a couple percent on DFM, which was not what I was expecting. This game, as I've said, it has been a lot closer than we were initially calling for. That's a Bard ultimate out to just make sure the Baron wasn't being snuck. Nothing else lost. And actually, quietly, Burning Core built up a 2k gold lead and taken down this outer tower finally.
They have. I think most of that gold lead probably came from that tower, actually, because it's probably an extra 1k gold in pockets. But, you know, so we see actually the Gangplank getting a big Demolish proc on the tower down there. Demolish, a really important rune to have now if you want to split push as someone who isn't someone like a Fiora.
And that's the top lane tier 2 down as well. So now suddenly 4-2 turrets and a 3k gold lead pretty much for Burning Core.
But now the question is, basically, who wins if it's a fair 5v5? Because we're going to probably get another one of those up to the next Infernal Drake. And I would put my money on the fact that actually that Burning Core do not want to walk up.
And there we go. They found their way. A Moonlight Vigil in the Cataclysm. We called it earlier. Roki's taking him down. That's a great hook. He's down. That's a good bullet time in the back. But Want is having a flash away, but he's flashing into the arms of Steel, who those are flag and drag out on Ray Farkey's flashing away. But that's so much damage from Evie, and he shuts down the Elise.
Oh, what a fantastic explosive fight. Just as we were talking about, when's the next 5v5 going to happen? Right up against this Infernal Drake spawn, DFM pull the trigger against the Flashless Syndra and punish accordingly.
And they say, screw the Infernal Drake, we want Baron. The jungle is dead, your mid laner is dead.
And we have a pause.
And the game is dead because there's a pause.
Well, Lexi, what did you make of that last fight?
Well, there was so much that happened in that short space of time. So as you guys had already talked about, like Rocky had a target on his back from that previous flash by Blitzcrank with the hook.
Yeah, the flash trade, yeah.
And then obviously the flash trade happened. He still had like half of his time. He still had 2 minutes at least on his flash, and then just got hard punished by that.
Yeah. I think there was some great vision control by Gang just to make sure that there was a clear route into that mid lane. They were trying to push up, and actually they just went a bit too far trying to get mid priority for this next dragon spawn.
Yeah, it was just so surprising that it went that way. And as you were saying, it's just like, well, did they actually want that fight ever? Probably not.
Yeah. I think it was also a really good stopwatch out of Steel as well. He's not the tankiest person right now, even though he's like level 11 with a Cinder Hulk and all this other stuff. It's just that Syndra does a lot of damage at this point in the game. But Steel manages to stopwatch the entirety of the Syndra roll, get some really good value out of that, and then the hook from Blitzcrank to follow up to secure the kill.
Yeah, the hook was impeccable for that whole team fight, really.
It really was, and I think we're starting to see one of the weaknesses potentially in Burning Core's team comp, in that they don't have the best champions to face check dark parts of the jungle.
No.
And they saw the Baron went dark, they had to go check it out, Bard through the ultimate the last time to check. This time they stroll forwards, trying to find out what's going on, and Steel hard commits.
Oh, this is fantastic. So, we see the Cocoon come down onto the Blitzcrank, but it's not enough. The silence comes out to stop Bard from doing anything disengaged.
That stopwatch from Steel is amazing.
That stopwatch was just nuts. And then, like, after that, Steel's already got his Conqueror procs and just starts just wailing on the backline. He's really fed at this point. And there's a fantastic flash from Ebby to finish off once at the very end of that fight there.
I think what's also relevant is the MF ult did nothing in that whole team fight. It went off and it didn't actually target anyone for probably more than 100 or maybe 200 max damage.
And I think that shows you the difference between fighting with flashes up on your carries and fighting with flashes down on your carries. The Syndra got hit by everything, didn't have flash, couldn't flash away from any of the damage. You saw that Jarvan could immediately flash out, and no one was hit by the MF ult of import, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we would and the thing is, MF had just picked up her Infinity Edge. She had the Essence Reaver Infinity Edge. That is that item breakpoint where MF Ultimate starts to sting, to put it mildly, and just couldn't find the angle. It was difficult to walk forwards because of the threat of the Blitzcrank, because the Cataclysm was in the way just as terrain, because you've got this Aatrox running around, world-ending, and tried to find what looked like a great ultimate, but it was just splitting the uprights.
Well, and DFM just was so spread out during the team fight. Like that, it was so hard for Burning Core to ever really have a good team fight. It looks like we are back into game. I'm good. It just they were displaced so much because that's what DFM do, so they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. It was a very disruptive team fight. Anyway, thank you very much for input, Lexi. I'm assuming you're gonna go now.
All right, let's get back into game, and we'll look at this while DFM tried to go rush the Baron. It didn't work out, and instead Yuhi gets to pick up an Infernal Drake, and DFM don't get to put themselves on the boundary of Soul. And got a little bit greedy to take it all. I don't mind the call. It would have put them really securely in the lead, but that's a nice, we'll call it consolation prize.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that DFM didn't manage to take the Infernal Drake off of that, because it would have put them on Soul point, as you're saying. But you know, this is a slow game. We saw some really fast games to start the day out. We've had 2 slow ones for us to end it out. Obviously, there are 4 more games being played today, but we're only covering them tomorrow. We're going to rebroadcast them. But yeah, so we still see this 2k gold lead in the favor of Burning Core. Not really changed that far. And I do think that favors Gangplank most of the time. But as we're saying, Gangplank can sing... Let me just say that again. Gangplank and Syndra love to do damage, but they really don't want to stand in front of people who can really disrupt them from doing that. The likes of Aatrox, Jarvan, and Blitzcrank can really mess up their team fights.
Indeed, they can, and we're going to see how this goes from now. Game has kind of come back into a bit of an even point. Burning Core do still have a slight gold lead, but Ebby takes the blue buff to stop Burning Core grabbing it. Probably not the best thing on him, but he'll take the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, for sure, right? It means he probably gets pushed over to that 40% CDR mark, which you do like on Aatrox. He's a manaless champion, so he doesn't need it for that, but always likes to cool down on his Qs, WZs, and ultimate, obviously. And
between a Luden's Echo and an Athene's and Holy Grail, I don't think Seros is going to be worrying too much about mana, and speaking of not worrying about things, Burning Core probably ought to be a bit more worried about what's going on in this Baron pit. Blue Trinkets come down, and we're looking like it's going to be another fight. Ebby's in behind, but Burning Core are in this.
That's some speed!
Gets avoided, he's going to walk up for the punch, he's going to punch him, but that's a great triple stun. GOP's down, that's a much better ultimate this time from Yuhi, causes so much damage, and Steel is dead too, but once he's in trouble, if they can get him, it means there's at least no ultimate. That hook misses. It's a 2-for-1 at the end of that, but Utapon's still alive, Ebby's still alive, but both junglers are dead.
I could just hear Initial D in the background as Guyan goes, "I am the fast," pops the Karma Shield, the Righteous Glory, the W, and just runs at the speed of light towards once. It ends in a 1-for-2, both junglers down, and it looks like Burning Core will probably be able to secure this Baron.
We'll see, we're looking at DFM looking like they're going to try and contest, but the inhibitor did go down because Ray Fire got the force, but TP's coming in. We'll see how this goes. There's ultimates available. Utapon still has his. He's got an Infernum ult available. Look for this. Moonlight Vigil incoming. So much damage, and that comes out as so much damage. Look at Utapon, just deletes the Misfortune. She's gone, and the Baron is now in the control of DFM. There's no junglers available. This is just going to be a 50-50. Second teleport coming in. Ray Farki gets destroyed by this Infernum from Aphelios, who is utterly unreal. Claims the Baron. Burning Core had victory in the grasp of their hands there. And
Oh,
Aphelios,
no.
Moonlight Vigil, it is dark night for them now.
You could just see this tower which Burning Core had created, this Tower of Babel slowly collapsing. I'm sorry, this is just so hilarious. I am the fast.
Do you like my car?
Do you like my car? I'm just on the other side of this. It's a triple stun into the Wombo. 2 people pretty much immediately deleted from the side of DFM, but just there isn't enough to stop the entirety of DFM. Evie is really strong at this point in the game. Even though you have Yuhi, who is actually really strong in this Misfortune, Evie is disruptive enough to make this team fight worthwhile for DFM. Comes in and teleports later, another great disruptive team fight. They say they go for this Baron here, but they just aren't doing it quite quick enough here. And as you said, the Infernum ult is just like this looming, like you hear the Jaws theme at this point, like you're stuck in the Baron pit against the massive AoE damage. Only hits 2 people, but it just deletes the Misfortune. There's just no consistent damage after that point because you have to have too much setup from the Syndra and the Gangplank, and then Yutabon just runs forward with a Q active from the Severum, just slices right the way through the Gangplank and secures the
And that's another hook as we come back out of the picture in picture. Ray Farkey has gone golden. He's got the stopwatch, and that's an ultimate from the Bard Keeper. Ebby cleans it up anyway, and I think actually that Syndra ult was muted by the Bard ultimate, and actually so much damage coming across well from Yuhi, but it's not enough. DFM is still here. Ray Farkey is still dead. Syndra has no ultimate. Misfortune has no ultimate. DFM still have minions.
And you know, there was some really high value ultimates out of Burning Core there, but actually just the Mantra shield from Karma adding so much HP to tear through. He just cannot finish off any of these members.
Indeed. Defiance so strong from Karma. And of course, we're looking at another Infernal Drake coming up on this Infernal Rift in just 10 seconds. DFM looking to come back and make sure they're around to contest. Are Burning Core going to be there? Once is here, but he's on very low HP. And DFM are probably going to be here quick enough to contest, I imagine. Not up yet. 2-1. Infernal is live.
And actually, what we see now is that DFM managed to cut through a lot of the towers on the map. They have a 3k Baron buff power play right now. They're managing to get the mid-priority for this fight, as we were talking about before earlier into this game when all the turrets were up. It makes it much easier when you have Baron to push down those minions as well.
And that's nearly a stop there from Ebby.
Round almost stopped there, as you're saying.
But instead it will be another Infernal take, and that puts them on soul point.
You know we were talking about Bard? He's actually building into a rapid fire cannon. I love it.
Oh, yes. Good, man. We were memeing. It's not a meme anymore. It's the reality.
The meme is alive. We're going to see the... I mean, it was either going to be that or Protobelt, one of the two. It's going to be the rapid fire cannon coming out. The Baron buff ending, and it's going to be about a 3k power play, as we said there. After that, we have 4 items onto Utapon, along with the boots, the Mercury Treads, and looks like probably a last item GA as well. So Utapon in a really scary position this game.
Yeah, and on the other side, that Gangplank has got Essence Reaver, Trinity Force, and a Sterix Gauge. He is ready to cause serious damage to Ray Farkey. Having a really good day, actually. Had a great game earlier versus Axis, and he's having a great game right now versus even someone of the quality of Ebby. So this is real good stuff from him and Once as well, actually. I was impressed with Once's problem solving out of tricky situations over the last couple of fights.
So we do see DFM obviously pick up that second Infernal Drake to put them on 3 dragons total. Very Farkey, very strong right now. Actually, Yuhi very strong as well. Doesn't have the 4 items of Utapon, but does have the double crit items, the more AD coming in from the Bloodthirst, and also an Executioner's Calling, just cutting down a bit of that healing when the ultimate's fired across the team.
Yeah, and actually I want to really commend Roki for going for the Void Staff third rather than going straight towards the Death Cap. There has been, there's a Spirit Visage complete on the Aatrox, there's Mercury Treads around, there's more of Malmortius in for the Aphelios as well. It's really important to be able to compete with that magic resist.
And I think the reason I like this Void Staff going into a full AP build from Roki, instead of stopping off on that Magic Pen from the Oblivion Orb into the Morellonomicon for the Grievous Wounds. Oh, as we see, once maybe getting caught.
And it might be not to be once. It's Gang getting a lot of damage. Has got a shield though and just about gets out. But it does mean Misfortune ultimate's down. But Gang's probably going to have to back his way out of here. And Burning Core continue the shove or at least the pressure in this mid lane.
I was going to say something. Yeah, so effectively Syndra, what her goal in this team fight is to delete someone important. And you need to be able to do that in a very efficient manner, because even if it's half a second late because you've built the wrong item and you're not doing quite as much damage at that point in the game as you could be, there's going to be shields and heals and everything coming in to mitigate it. So I do like the Void Staff, particularly if you can get the Grievous Wounds down from Misfortune already.
Yes, that's very true. But Aphelios, as we
Oh,
said,
and Elise, as we were saying.
and as I said, Aphelios has got that GA.
Yep.
You have to blow him up twice now, and that's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
And yes, you have the damage. Yes, you did. There is a cannon barrage. There's a unleashed power. There's a bullet time. Like there is a lot of ways to make that Aphelios lose a health bar.
Yeah.
But it has just been made that level again difficult.
I think that the difference between the two teams this game, particularly because we do have two very strong teamfight AD carries and teamfight mid laners, is that basically the backup dancers from DFM are just doing better than Burning Core this game. They've got more agencies in them. As we see all the skills popped, disengage involved though.
But then there's a GLP pops missed, but that means Gang's free to go forward with the righteous glory. Has to backstep against the Cocoon, but it means the Burning Core are out of line with Proud, who just get pulled out of his tunnel. But you can go in it multiple times. It's not a one and done thing.
Bard free zone. This is why I hate Bard. Why do you have to take it again? It's so annoying. But anyway. Proud.
DFM coming into this mid lane.
There was a really well play from Evie to pull Proud out of the tunnel with the Infernal Chains. Just hops right back in it. Gets out scot-free. Actually pretty tanky right now because he actually went for the Deadman's Plate. Gives him a lot of that move speed and the extra slap on that first auto he has.
All right, we're looking at a Baron bait setup, and never mind a Baron bait, it's a Baron start for DFM. Ray Farkey is in the back, but his honor control one. Gang's in this, and Proud here has no tunnel this time, but there's a great kind of
Flash Hook misses.
The Flash Hook does miss, and that means Gang's now in trouble. A lot of health, not a lot, and that's a Infernum ult that doesn't really do all that much. Just as Yuhi for a little bit of damage. The Bard ult is missed, and that's a great Cataclysm, but Steel's now in trouble, and we'll see how much damage it is because Yutapon gets so much damage onto Syndra, who's gone down too. Ray Farkey now got damage, but he's going to get pulled out by the Inner Flame. He's in trouble and forced into difficulty here. Will the renewal come out from Saros? No, Yutapon just kills him instead.
Steel, a man after my own
And never
heart.
mind you, he's now 1v1ing Evie, and this Aatrox is just a monster. I'm sorry, Misfortune. Bounty Hunter you might be, but you stand no chance to 1v1 versus the Darkin Aatrox himself.
Oh, okay. Calm down, Rap God. You did pretty okay there. Yeah, and this will probably be a very large swing into this game, if not the game itself. We're probably going to see some inhibs down. That was a fantastic fight from DFM. It's actually, I feel like our VOD has actually just about stopped itself. This is a bit unfortunate. Oh dear, I think we've had a bit of a technical difficulty on our stream. But
okay, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. We can always sort this out over here on the LJL cast.
Go for a bit of a reload here. Apologies for that.
What time were you on?
Absolutely. Let me... One second. Let me...
Oh no, okay, we can get that. Okay, what time's you on?
Let me... Okay. No. It's totally fine. So I'm actually at 41:10.
41:10. We'll bring it back then.
41:10 in-game, sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, I got it.
So we're at 40 now. We used to be up a minute. That's 40:10.
Oh, 41. Oh, yeah. Very wrong.
See, this is the problem, of course, with home internet connections and across a couple different computers. It means we do occasionally have these technical glitches. Thank you for bearing with us. We'll be back with you shortly.
Well, they've got our lovely faces so far.
Indeed.
Oh, do they?
That's
we're
even
on
better.
camera?
Yeah, of course we're switching to camera.
That's even better.
Of course we switch to camera. Of course we do.
Good man. See, this is how we have a producer, right?
Okay, we're at 41:10 now. We're good.
Alright, so I'll count us in, and we'll go back to play. Alright, so let me go over. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. There we go. Easy peasy.
Right, okay.
So, Baron buff, second Baron buff secured now by DFM.
Gang again.
But Gang's going in. It's so fast, but gets shoved by the Scat of the Week, and that's a clutch one there. But once has found his way behind, and that's a lot of damage from Ray Farkey. Shuts down the Karma, but once is now frozen, gonna have to repel out. He's going to, but no, there's another hook, and that means once goes down to him. That means the jungler is dead, and that's Infernal Soul is up with no jungler for Burning Core. I repeat, Infernal Soul is up. Burning Core don't have a jungler.
And they also, Burning Core do not have any sustain, whereas on this Aphelios, Yutapon can probably heal up to full if he's given any target to hit. If they don't finish this Infernal, by the time a minion wave comes in, they're going to have to fight with health bar.
Too bad they got it. That means, but
Evie's TP'd in.
And that means there's people in behind. Yuhi's stuck here, and they've got to find a way out. This is 3 carries, but Yuhi is now stuck in the Cataclysm. Gets deleted, and Evie's getting in behind. Roki misses the Glacial Augment. Not Glacial Augment, sorry, that's GLP. And Ray Farkey is now fighting Evie, and Evie burns the world ender in this Blood Moon skin. flying high, and he gets deleted. Incoming Aphelios ultimate, that Moonlight Vigil doing so much damage. Steel goes forward with the flag and dragon. DFM Utapon picks up a last kill. 15-7 now is the score.
And I think this will be all she wrote. That's a fantastic fight from DFM against Burning Core. Burning Core trying to just at least get the Infernal Drake, extend the game a little bit longer, because you have to imagine that Infernal Soul would have been the end of the game anyway. A well-fought game by them. They fought every step of the way, but unfortunately just the team fighting prowess of DFM has just been on point this game.
And Ebby dashing forward, keeping once away from this wave. And it's looking like a game over. 6-0, 6 is Aphelios at the end here. 7-2 and 5 is Ebby on the Aatrox. It's a final attempt to stop it from Bar, but a turret's gone down. And the second one's going down too now. Elise dies as she repels up and comes straight back down into the waiting arms of DFM. Steel with the stone plate burning comes and helps take out the team. GG DFM, hard fought. But in the end, it is a 2-0 day for them.
Yes, it is. Lexi, after that technical difficulty to end out the game, how are you feeling?
What a game! What a series between those two teams. Well, not a series, just a game in general. It was just phenomenal to watch them go at it. Very back and forth game. Burning Core showing up, but DFM obviously securing their place on top. What a game! What a pick! The Blitzcrank coming out, just. So much. I could talk about this kind of game for hours, probably.
Yeah, I mean, first off, we see Cyros's other signature pick in the Karma just neutralize that mid lane for so long. You can't push into a Karma. Not that easily anyway. And it came to that point where actually, like, with the amount of magic resist and shields that the Aphelios had, Aphelios ended on 7-0-6. You know, he didn't die. He had the lion's share of the kills. He was doing work in those team fights.
It does help when you are Yutapong and you're probably...
Yeah, it does help.
And like, let's be real, like he got first turret gold, and that helped get him into a place where he was doing work. But actually, in the top side for Burning Core, Ray Farkin once pulled off a couple of really cute outplays over Steel and Ebby. And while they both came into it for a very long time, Steel was levels down, was a very squishy Jarvan. But, you know, Ebby ending up, was it 7-2 and 5? Found some great TPs.
7-2 and 6.
7-2 and 6, apologies.
7-2-6, that's insane.
And then again finds his way into these team fights later on. But actually, what was keeping Burning Core in that game was a couple really powerful ultimate abilities, and also Ray Farki just putting out some really dumb damage numbers.
GP is good.
GP is very good. I mean, there are a lot of that game. I mean, the GP was basically dictating the flow of the game.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like, I felt like the Aatrox just wasn't able to even 1v1 him. It was just at that point, he hit his power spike and was just hard pushing that bot lane, I remember.
Yeah, we saw him take tier 2 bot lane turret, kind of uncontested, just, using the demolish proc, just threatening the Aatrox to walk up and see what happens.
GP things, basically.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that you're probably most sad about, Alex, let's be real, is Bard not dying that game.
He didn't die.
He went 0-4.
Why am I hit? Why is Bard picked if Bard is not going to die on the screen for me?
Blitzcrank died once.
I will say I don't think the Bard pick was all that influential. There were one or two ultimates that were kind of like there was a nice cute play with the Rift Herald summon on the mid lane turret. But actually, I think a lot of that game was for Burning Core revolved around strong topside performance.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
And yeah, once ended 1-5 and 3, but I actually thought there was some quite nice problem solving with the repels and stuff to get out of situations when he was being focused.
Yeah, I think
wasn't enough in the end, but a worthy effort.
I absolutely agree with you. The Elise, once on the Elise, was just so important to so many parts of those team fights. The only reason, arguably, they lost a lot of spots in that game, like the Baron, and they didn't actually lose that third dragon, but they could have, was because he just was zoned so hard. Like, DFM were aggressively going for the Elise before going for anybody else, it did seem like, in some of these team fights.
I feel like, you can look at that scoreline and say, oh, 1-5 and 3, rough game from Once. Actually, no, Once had a good game.
Yes.
And, I remember for a long time he was 1-0-2, 1-0-4, and again,
2 levels up.
As the game started to slip away from them, he was the one getting picked off and dying. Partly because that's who DFM were looking for, right? Because when you have got that amount of pick between Karma, Blitzcrank, and Aphelios throwing Gravitum at you, Jarvan coming at you, Aatrox coming at you. There's not all that many options for the Elise, and that's how the DFM managed to get themselves a decent objective secure.
Just to clarify, Karma in herself is not a pick champion, but she does help accentuate those points of power in people who use move speed to get on top of you, right? Because as we saw there, Ebby, if he got on top of people, was just chunking out damage. But he could do that so much more easy with the Karma Shield. And the same could be said of Blitzcrank looking for hooks and Steel looking for engages. Steel had a really good game on Jarvan. Again, I'm not sure you can let this guy have his Jarvan now. I'm pretty convinced there has to be a ban.
But then you have to always ban the Jarvan, but then you also have to try and always ban the Gragas, probably? Because Steel on Gragas, as we've seen before, insane mechanics.
I don't think you can I think maybe you just see what happens with the Gragas and just say like...
But then are you going to start banning the Heimer and the Karma?
Yeah, this is the thing, right? Sometimes you need to figure out your correct lane matchups, I guess.
What the Jarvan allows, right, is because we've seen Steel play it Cinderhulk, not Warrior, is it means that Ebby can go for a bruiser that's not a full tank. It means that the support can be a bit more of a pick support rather than a tank support. And Gragas can't do that. I mean, he can build a Zhonya's, but he's not in the same level of I can build Stoneplate and Cinderhulk.
And the other thing is that when you've got a shielding champion like Karma on your team, if a Karma uses that shield on a tank who has more resists, that amount of shield is worth more HP because it's harder to damage that shield because they have more resists. So if you go for a tank Jarvan, they are even more tanky with that shield.
I do agree with you, but we saw once, literally the last game, playing against Axis with the Gragas, basically controlled the whole game.
Oh yeah, it was pretty great. So but that also helped that they had like this monster set.
Yeah, that helped a lot.
Ray Farkey had a great game again, actually. Like I had
he did.
kind of been a bit ambivalent towards him before this year, and I feel like I probably misrepresented the guy. He's had a wonderful day. We'll see if he can continue going on. But that was good work. You know, the set game was great. This game, some clever little outplays. Again, it was the 2v2, so let's include once in that. But that's a top duo that they should be proud of and should be able to work around.
Yeah. And one of the other things that, you know, after tomorrow, we're going to start discussing about who our players of the week are as well. And, you know, Ray Farkey's put his name in the hat, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I think if there's one player from Burning Core who has stepped up, it is definitely Ray Farkey. Like, don't get me wrong, once was probably, in my eyes, probably their second best player. The Gragas plays he was doing were phenomenal.
Between the two early games he had, the mid and late game team fights.
And his Elise was relevant. We've all said the Elise was relevant throughout the whole game.
No, the amount of times where like Cocoon stopped Blitzcrank getting a hook off early into a team fight because he was just stunned was actually pretty big.
Yes.
I mean, like the issue in becomes that that's good defensive Elise play, but you don't pick Elise to be a defensive champion.
No.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, he eventually got the gangplank rolling, but that was at about 20 minutes.
Yeah, you're meant to be doing that at 10 minutes.
I'm not sure that was quite enough because actually at that point, yeah, Jarvan's behind, but once he hit level 11, once he had the stone plate, he just provided so much more in those team fights. Yeah. And we did see it hit the point where like Utapon would fire an ultimate, maybe we'll only hit one person, and then he just gets to auto everybody down, hit Q on Severum, run at someone, and detonate them because they don't have a choice.
Aphelios is just so strong.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen throughout almost every game. I'm just quickly looking over my notes. Aphelios was in Burning.
Has been every.
Has he actually been in every single game? So he was in the Burning Core game. He was in the V3 Axis game where V3 won. And DFM. Yeah, Aphelios has been on the winning team of every single one. So what we're saying here is first pick Aphelios and then you've already won the game.
He is quite strong. I will say I don't think people have done a fantastic job of getting on top of him.
I feel like if he's ever on the front foot, Gravitum has just been insane today. Gravitum just firing out the ult, rooting someone in place. It just means like when you have other engaged champions, it is a sitting duck.
Because it doesn't necessarily mean that Aphelios needs to get the damage, at least in the mid game and before he's got his items. But if he's throwing out a Gravitum on 4 people and then you've got your Syndra's and your Jarvans and your Gangplanks throwing all the ultimates on top. Like, it's not about getting the kills then on the Aphelios, it's about...
Well, I'm wondering if you have to take clans versus Aphelios. I'm wondering about that now.
But
that's a topic of conversation we can have in our podcast.
Another group of podcasters talking about Aphelios. Oh joy! The league community cannot be more excited.
But our one's all about the Japanese league of Aphelios.
Japanese Aphelios is very
not
different.
solo queue, not NA, not Korea. No. The Japanese.
He is a bit of an anime champion, I grant you. There is a lot of dark edgy anime lead going on.
Have you played him in game, Sam?
I've not. No, I've not.
You need to play him in game because he doesn't actually speak. He just goes.
It's just a sister. I know.
No. If you do his emotes and stuff, he's just like moaning and groaning.
My Chemical Aphelios.
Oh no.
100% full. Oh yeah, he's the angstiest like just guy, emo boy, everything.
Well, we will hold on the Black Parade until the next podcast.
Oh god, you had to get that in there, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
yes. No, actually, I really did.
But with that in mind, it's been an incredible 4 games. Just to quickly give a very quick recap, we had our first game of the day, which is DFM versus V3, where DFM won in about 23 minutes, I believe.
It was crush.
It was a very, very quick game. Then we were followed by V3 versus Axis, and V3 picked that one up in a very quick game. I believe that was 25 minutes. So 2 very quick back-to-back games. I'm going to actually quickly look up later, because I want to find out if DFM might have achieved the record for fastest game so far in a major region, because that was quick.
Yeah.
Possibly a C9 game as well. I remember one of their first games being exceptionally fast.
Very true. I think there was also an LCK game.
Also,
that was,
technically LJL isn't a major region, so...
We believe in We believe that we're a major region in our hearts.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sure. We then had Burning Core versus Axis, and Burning Core came triumphant on that one.
Yeah, that was back and forth.
That was very back and forth, but obviously that was with Rayparky basically taking all the kills for Burning Core for the first 20 minutes, I think, before he started giving them over to everybody else. And as always, we just had our game of Burning Core versus DFM, which was a slight slog. I believe a 40-minute game. I've got the 43-minute game.
Yeah.
Longest one so far that we've seen. There are obviously 4 more games for us to cover, which we'll be covering tomorrow on stream.
We will indeed.
Not 100% sure of the time quite at this moment.
Sometime it'll be evening UK time, so think
6 p.m. after GMT. So that's
we'll be throwing up
British time.
Details probably later today or
so
tomorrow.
It'll be Twitter, Instagram. We'll try and put something on Reddit if it isn't removed.
All that good stuff. We will be posting it on social media and everything else. We'll also probably be going live at least 30 to 45 minutes. And it will be also live on our Twitch and YouTube, as well as potentially other streaming platforms if we are able to stream on them. We'll find that out. But we'll definitely be on Twitch and YouTube. So normal place for all our content. You'll be able to find all our VODs as well on our YouTube page, and we will be doing our podcast over the next week as well, which is now on all major platforms as well, including iTunes, Spotify, Overcast, and pretty much anywhere else you would potentially get your podcast needs and wants. But I have been Mars1, your host for the LJL Officially Unofficial. I've always been joined for this whole cast by my color commentator and my play-by-play caster. If you have any last words, initialize Nymera, please say them now.
I'm going first this time. I get my choice. I had a lot of fun. It's been a real pleasure to get to cast the opening day of the LJL. It's great to be started. It's great to be getting the English content rolling. And it was some amazing games. We had a lot of fun. I'm still really excited by some of the creativity we're seeing. Cinderbots and Nocturne mids. It's all happening. I'm very excited to see where it goes next.
Yeah, and it's been a really fun day for me too. As always, I've been Alex Nymera Hapgood, and I've been joined by my host and my play-by-play commentator. I've really enjoyed today. For anyone who sat...
Not even the end of the first stream when it's getting memed. I love it.
So for everyone who has tuned in and watched all our content, watched us goof around talking about blue champions and technical difficulties, thank you ever so much. It does mean an awful lot to us. Obviously, we don't always have the greatest amount of experience, but this is what we're doing this for. This is how you get experience, and we've enjoyed doing it. So thank you very much for putting up with us.
It's It's been a hell of a 4 games that we've covered. I'm so excited to be covering the 4 more from today, as well as on Tuesday we will be having to cover a whole 8 games for
we're gonna
week
die.
2. But we will go into far more details on that later into our next stream tomorrow. So we wish you will join us then, and thank you so much for watching, and have a lovely day.
See you around.